Hey everybody. I know I haven't really done much of Johnny Mathis in a while, but I'm decided to try to get back on him again. That was, I think it was back in September of 2024 when I did his first four albums from his. Well, really it was five. I also counted the Sounds of Christmas album, but the four releases that he came out with from Mercury Records. And can't believe these albums are now going to be 60 years old. I mean, talking about his his two albums, well, his sixth and his seventh Mercury album. That is Love is Everything, of course. and the Sweetheart Tree, da 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 da, came from that, the movie The Great Race. Very very underrated albums from his. You don't really hear people talk about these albums, and I was just actually listening to these albums during my had my spring break here, and it was during this past week or whatever. I was listening to these two albums, and I was also listening to Heavenly as well. I always like to listen to that too as well a lot. But yeah, I was definitely anticipating to do this video for quite some time now, and let's go ahead and get to it here. I just want to go ahead and read the liner notes from the global album thing here, and this is what he says about Love is Everything. This one here. He says, another album which contains songs from the movies, including An Affair to Remember and Long Ago and Far Away. The reason for singing that last song goes back to my watching motion pictures like Springtime in the Rockies with Harry James and Betty Grable. I was very much influenced by people like Rita Hayworth. How could you not be? There she was, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life, and she had all this talent. This song was from one of her films. He also mentions about the lyricist Bart Howard on here as well. There's a song here called A Thousand Blue Bubbles, which was recorded first by a lady in 1961, but he was mostly famous for Fly Me to the Moon, which everybody out of their mother did. He said here, he was very important to me, keeping my focus on not just listening to music that was available, but also to try and find something that was a little more interesting. As I said, listening to these albums today brings back many memories. All told, these were after all my good years and very productive. He wrote this back in 2012, by the way. Yeah, so it says a little bit here as well, covering songs from the 30s and 40s, covering from pretty much each decade here up until, of course, the 60s. And the guy who also wrote Love is Everything also wrote It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, which I didn't really know about. It's 36 minutes. Al Hamm is the producer on this album. It says here that he was notable for composing Move Closer to Your World. It was like a music package thing for a TV station over in, for a news channel in Philadelphia. But he had passed away in 2001. So it charted on the album chart. Well, it came out March the 5th of 1965. But it made it charted at number 52 on March the 20th of that year. And I really like the back cover too. I really like these like replica covers, which is cool. There's very small print, of course, on here. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this album. Now, this album was recorded throughout mostly in December of 65 or 64, for that matter. So we'll start off with the first song, "Never Let Me Go." Really, really good opening track here. It's from a movie called The Scarlet Hour. It was released back in 1956. It was directed by Michael Curtis. He also filmed some other famous movies, including White Christmas, of course, and Yankee Doodle Dandy, Casablanca. So he's a pretty famous director, So that's that song. And then People, of course, that was covered by Barbra Streisand. It was a big hit for her. And of course, that was on Funny Girl. A Thousand Blue Bubbles. I really like this song. It's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it is kind of fun. Of course, then you get the song Love Is Everything. I really like that one. Young and Foolish from a movie called Plain and Fancy. Never heard of it, but it's a very, very nice song. An Affair to Remember is from a movie that is called An Affair to Remember from 1957. Then we go to side 2 with Come Ride With Me, or Come Ride the Wind With Me. I can't really talk there, but anyways, that's what opens side 2. Go Away Little Girl, of course, that was a big hit for Steve Lawrence, and it was Goffin and King song. Dancing in the Dark, which is from a movie called The Bandwagon, which I never heard of. And it came out in 1932. Or it was a musical. Not a movie, it was a musical. This Is All I Ask, a very nice song. I do like that one. And then ends with One More Mountain, which was written by Paul Vance. And Paul Vance, of course, he was a pop writer, of course, and he wrote that Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny song, and also Tracy for the Cufflinks, if anyone remembers that. But anyways, I really do think that this is actually a pretty good album. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorites, but it's actually really good. I like the front cover, of course, with the portrait of him there. And Glenn Ozer, of course, who did a lot of Mathis' albums back in the 60s. Okay, then the other album that he had released in 65 is The Sweetheart Tree. Like I said, it was from the movie called, it was from The Great Race, of course. And once again, I really like the back cover. That's like a photograph of him there. It's a really nice shot right there, too. The U.S. version, however, there's two different versions. The U.S. version is a bit shorter, while the U.K. version is 50 minutes long, which is really crazy. So the U.K. version is called Away From Home. That's actually the title of the album over there, and has a different track listing. So it says here on the liner notes about the album, it says that I recorded this album with Norman Newell, a charming man who is a friend of Noel Coward. I knew of him because of his lyric for the song More from the film Mondo Cane. When you first meet someone, the conversation goes to something that's of interest to them, particularly if you decide whether you are going to work together or not. That was the lovely part of our first conversation. So he says, of course, about The Sweetheart Tree, written by Henry Mancini. Of course, the movie starring Natalie Wood, The Great Race, of course. So yeah, just a little thing about The Sweetheart Tree. But it also says here as well that was recorded in London. So there was 2 different versions, like I said there. So yeah. Doesn't say where it actually charted. It peaked at 108 for the album, so I think it kind of charted a little bit lower than Love Is Everything. That was yeah, it officially was released on the LP chart on October 16th of 65. Wait, let me see here. Oh, never mind. It went to number 71 and it stayed there for 26 weeks, the album. There was also a twofer album set, which also included the Shadow of Your Smile. So this is the US one that I'm going to talk about here. It starts off with a song called Wonderful Day Like Today, which came from, I think it was a musical, I believe. They actually starred Anthony Newley, and of course it has the song Who Can I Turn To? And I really like that opening track, A Wonderful Day Like Today. It just has like this brassy kind of, really upbeat opening. And the second track here, which is Ardisiva Romoa from Seven Hills of Rome. I love that. And even some of the songs here are actually pretty okay. I mean, I kind of maybe prefer Love Is Everything over the Sweetheart Tree. But yeah, it has that song I can't pronounce. Clopin and Klompin is another one. This Is Love. It's actually a really good one. But I do like his cover of Danny Boy, which of course a lot of people covered that song. Mostly the famous version that I kind of really know is Andy Williams' version. And even the song The Sweetheart Tree I really like as well. Autumn Leaves. It was composed actually in 1945, and of course it was famously done by Roger Williams. He was a pretty famous pianist. And it ends with a song called Mirage, which came from a film called Mirage, composed by Quincy Jones. So yeah, that's all I kind of got to say about Sweetheart Tree. Quality-wise, I do think that these are definitely excellent. Quality for sure on these or whatever. But I kind of prefer a little bit of Love Is Everything, because it definitely has a little bit more of a good variety of songs compared to Sweetheart Tree. But yeah, there you go. There you have it, folks. I don't want to really take too much of your time, but yeah, I really think these 65 albums are really good, and I probably will do. I think he came out with 2 albums, I believe, in '66. The Shadow of Your Smile, I believe. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Great, really good 2 albums, but I really like Love Is Everything. That's actually really good compared to. But those Sweetheart Trees, really good album too. So I don't know. But with Love Is Everything, I kind of maybe prefer a little bit more. So anyways, that's it. Okay, folks, take care. Bye-bye.